we're going to use our box method to multiply polynomials. Now before we start, it's important for you to understand what I'm saying when I say polynomial or monomial or term. So a term refers to any number, any variable, or any product of real numbers or variables. So these three things that I have examples here, these are your terms. Now a monomial is an expression that contains only one term. So all of these terms that I had listed before, those are actually also called monomials. And a polynomial is an expression that contains one or more terms that are separated by addition or subtraction signs. So this would be an example of a polynomial. So today, we're going to use our box method to multiply polynomials. Using your box method to multiply polynomials is just like what we've been doing when we completed our square or we multiplied perfect squares. So it's going to look very familiar to you. The only real difference with this is that when you have these polynomial expressions, you have to make sure that your box matches how many terms you have. Okay, so in this case, we need to make a box that has the same number of boxes as the term. So if we have 2 terms by 2 terms, we need a 2 by 2 box. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take each of these expressions and we're going to put one on the top of our box and one down the side. So 2x plus 5, I'm going to put that on the top of this box, and then my other expression is going to go down the side, 3x plus 2. So hopefully this looks just like what we've been doing with perfect squares, except for the fact that our numbers aren't exactly the same, because we're not talking about a square anymore, so the length and the width don't have to be the same. Once we have those dimensions drawn in, all we have to do is our multiplication. So I'm going to multiply 3x times 2x. Now when you multiply these monomials, just multiply your numbers first and then combine your exponents together, your variables together. So 3 times 2 is 6, x times x is x squared. I'm going to do the same thing for 3x times 5. 3 times 5 is 15, and then we have 1x. And I'm going to put a plus sign in front of it because it's a positive 15, because we've got positive 3 times positive 5. So here I have 2 times 2x. 2 times 2 is 4, so that's going to give me 4x. And then finally, in this last box, I have 2 times 5, and 2 times 5 is 10. Now from here, we're going to go and do exactly what we did before. We're going to combine our like terms. I have one x squared term, 6x squared. I have 2 terms that have x's on them. I have 4x plus 15x. 4 plus 15 is 19. And then I have one term that has no variables at all, and that's just plus 10. And that's how we can multiply polynomials together. Let's look at 2 more examples here. So looking at this problem on the left, I notice we have 2 terms and 2 terms. So my box should be 2 by 2. I'm going to take my first expression, 4x minus 3, and put it on the top of my boxes. I'm going to take my second expression, x plus 4, and put it down the side. And now we need to multiply. X times 4x, remember, this x is like a 1x. That's an invisible 1 in front of it. So 4 times 1 gives me 4x squared. Next, I'm going to multiply 1x times negative 3, which will give me a negative 3x. And then I'm going to multiply my 4 times 4x. 4 times 4 is 16. And I have my x on the end there. And finally, I'm going to multiply this 4 times this negative 3, which will give me a negative 12. So now it's time to combine my like terms together. I have 4x squared, which will go right down here. And then I'm going to combine my x's. So I've got this 16x minus this 3x. So 16 minus 3, that's going to give me 13. And don't forget your x on it. And then finally, we have this negative 12, which just tags on the end. Now there's one more problem I want to show you, this one here. If you look at it, we have 1 term times 2 terms. So when we make this box, it's going to look a little different because it's going to be 1 box by 2 boxes. Everything else stays the same. So you're going to take your first term and you're going to put it on the side over here. Then you're going to take what goes on the top, 2x plus 10. We're going to write that on the top here. And then it's time to do our multiplication. So 4x times 2x, 4 times 2 is 8. X times x is x squared. And we're going to finish off with 4x times 10. 4 times 10 is 40. And it has an x. And then all we have to do is combine our like terms. You'll notice there's nothing really to combine here. So we have our 8x squared and our 40x right here. And that's how we do this problem. That's multiplying polynomials using our box method.